This is one of the craziest and one of the most enjoyable league races I've had in a long time.
You fucking idiot, bro. You.
Oh my god, I bottled pole position. There's no way.
This race had everything. From big side-by-side battles to unpredictable weather, huge dive bombs, and I literally had to become the Prime Minister of Defense in order to hold on for dear life.
What the fuck?
For the past month in PSGL, I've had nothing but bad luck. From double stacking with my teammate in the pits,
Is this serious?
crashed
Wait,
lobbies,
did I desync?
and not bringing enough fuel in the race.
I'm burning fuel. This is not gonna happen. Well, I'm not finishing the race. Look at my fuel.
My current run in PSGL F5 is not the best I've ever seen. One of the reasons is that I just haven't really enjoyed racing in these regulations. And this is why I found it hard to put in the time behind the wheel. But I'm not here to find excuses. This is Formula Kai we're talking about. And if there's one thing people know me for is that I leave nothing halfway done. Which is why this week, I've put in the time. Let's hit the ground running.
I think one of the best ways to improve is to race against stupid fast people. Like people that are so quick that you can't even believe how quick they are. Because from racing with them, every race, you're gonna learn something new. The main issue is that we only race against stupid people, not the stupid fast ones.
And today, getting qualifying right is going to be absolutely imperative because the margins are going to be so tight. Austria being a fast track with not many corners means any mistake you make is very punishing. But I've spent the past few days running laps, looking at my telemetry, watching my onboards to really try and extract as much pace as I can from this little Cadillac car. And honestly, so far, Sector 1 has been pretty smooth. 15.9 Sector 1. Pretty good for a banker, but it can be a lot better still. And you know when you can tell a lap has been pretty good? Even though I had no delta yet, I could tell from feeling alone this one was going to be a pretty good one. And it is going to be a 3.9.
Looks like a decent lap. 3.9 banker.
This is exactly what I need. A good banker to build from. Because we're going to be able to carry all this confidence into our next two runs. And this takes off so much pressure from the driver's perspective. When you know you already got a decent banker and you can just go full ham on the next two laps, this is where great things happen.
781. Tom 97, 959. Old man is cooking. Louis Welch and Tom 97. 6-7.
When spirits are high, you gotta take advantage and go again. Strike the iron while it's hot, because now we got a great foundation to build on. Into turn 1, half throttle into turn 1, help save a little bit of battery, throttle early before you even hit the apex to help stabilize the rear. And that right there was a generational turn 1. And that is going to be a 0.8 flat sector 1. 1/10 gained, but unfortunately we lose some under the limit into turn 3, and we lose all of that time gain coming out of the corner. And like I said, at Austria, there's not that many corners on track, and all the corners are fast. This makes any mistake super punishing, but we get a great run out of turn 4, a 10.5 gained into turn 6 and 7, lift early to save battery, a little bit of boost to keep the momentum up between the two corners, a little bit wide, and a little snap on the exit of turn 7 makes us lose a heap of time. And now with two corners left, we gotta somehow find a way to save a little bit of battery for the final run up to the line. We gotta be bold with the cut over this inside curve and up to the line. What is it going to be?
Oh my god, I bottled pole position. There's no way. Guys, did you see that? I was on for pole.
The margins are just so close that by the time we got into the pits, we were down to P4 already. And there's only a 1/10 separating us and P1. And whether we could hook up this last lap or not might just determine whether we start on pole or in the midfield. Because there's literally only 3/10 separating P1 and P10. This means we absolutely have to get this last lap right, because realistically, it is going to be our last opportunity to improve. I'm currently sitting in P4. Let's see what we can do on this last run when the track is at its hottest. But then I completely lift off and abort my lap. This is because I noticed I was using medium coming out of the final corner, which means my battery started deploying before I actually wanted it to. And in case you didn't know, in F1 26 DLC, how you manage your battery, where you deploy, where you lift is everything. Getting the correct battery strategy might just make the difference between being 2/10 clear of the field and being swallowed up by the pack. And with only 40 seconds to go, we're gonna have to time this to perfection.
Don't want to add extra wear on my tires.
With only 15 seconds left, we burned off an extra lap worth of fuel. We got warm tires. This is our best shot for pole position right here, right now. Into turn 1, half lift, down to 7th. Brave with the throttle on corner exit. Not too shabby. We matched the previous delta from the second lap. But now, remember, we're going to have to be bold into turn 3 because we lost close to a full 10th here. Again, braking late at a 100-meter board, flicking the car in, cutting over the inside curb a little bit too early under the limit, and we actually lose out again compared to our previous lap. Still, there's a couple of corners left, and remember, we had a huge slide into the second sector, so maybe there's still more time to find. But again, not a good cut into turn 4. Turning in a little bit too early, but still we managed to hold on to the delta. But again, we go deep into turn 6, a little bit of boost on corner exit. Now we hit the apex correctly into turn 7, and look at the time gain, nearly a 10th back instantaneously as we cross the apex. But unfortunately, that is not going to be enough today, and we're going to have to settle for P6 on the grid.
Fuck!
Couldn't hook it up. Sorry, guys. That would have been a lap, yeah. It would have been a 6. Guys, it would have been a 6. Oh.
Usually that would have been disastrous, but since this is Austria, you can literally win the race from P20. All it takes is one idiot to go bowling into turn 3, anything can happen. And as the lights go out, everybody, literally everybody is starting on the hards, except a select few drivers. A little argy-bargy into turn 1, but we leave room on the outside, and now it's going to be a drag race down towards turn 3. Battery still on, but I have to start lifting early because if we don't, you're gonna run out before the end of the lap as we get turned into turn 3, but we managed to inch ahead into P5. I actually get a great run on the DV in the Ferrari here, so I'm gonna try my luck into turn 4, but with everybody being on full battery, I'd rather not risk it right now. I kind of thought about it going down the inside, but again, he goes wide on the exit of turn 4, so I'm gonna turn on my battery, but you have to lift. Such is the joy of the current regulations. Now, the strategy is an interesting one for this race because usually you want to start on the mediums and go to the hards, and this is pretty much true on all tracks. This allows you to maintain track position, box early, stay in the train where it's usually fastest. But today, with rain inbound towards the end of the race, most people opted to start on the hards and to stay out until the rain hits. But not everybody had the same ideas because right now, there are a couple of medium runners out track and those tires are insanely quick currently. But those guys are gonna have to go into the box again later on because those mediums, I assure you, will not make it to the rain. So they have opted for the 2-stop until the rain comes. They are betting that the rain comes late enough that their second set of hards are going to pay its dividends. And they're betting it all on that. So right now, I'm really hoping that I can hold on to my P5 currently, but with the mediums behind looking aggressive, I'm not sure that's going to be possible because I'm kind of struggling with the battery here, having used a little bit too much on the first lap. And I'm debating very much to let him go here because fighting with him now would just cost me tires. And he would have to box anyways. So this is not a net position loss in the grand scheme of things. Which is why by the end of lap 3, we're gonna let him go. Maybe allow him to cause some carnage up ahead, save up some battery, and then get him later on. And all the while, I'm keeping an eye on my tire wear because these tires need to go the distance. We know the rain is gonna hit around lap 20, but is it going to hit hard enough and fast enough? If it takes a while for the track to get wet, then we might have to stay out a little longer. And what do you know? On lap 7, both medium runners boxed, and yes, that is correct. There was 2 medium runners in the top 6, and this moves us up to P4. And now DV in the Ferrari has a big gap to fill because if he drops out of that 1 second window, he's going to be without overtake on the next lap. And if we lose the train to the top 2, we might never gain that time back. So he has to push really hard with the tires and battery, which might just leave him vulnerable in the next few laps for us to go at him. And this is where I noticed something. He goes into none very, very early. You can see how much we're gaining going into turn 6, even though we lifted the same amount, and how powerful slipstream and overtake is. And again, coming out of turn 7, he's gonna go into none very early, which tells me one thing: he is out of battery, and we're gonna go for it on this next straight. We just have to be close enough coming out of the final corner, being careful not to invalidate. A little correction going into the final corner, but now he's already flashing coming out of the final corner. He's already out of juice, so I'm gonna turn on the overtake again going into turn 1, slightly outbrake myself, almost destroying the car, but we made one of the most crucial moves in this race. Up to P3, and we're still within the 1 second window to the top 2. Except we get hit into turn 3 as the car behind tried to go for a huge lunge, and that slide has cost us a lot of tire wear. And now all of a sudden, this race has been flipped upside down. 1.2 seconds is the gap to P2, and now I'm in the same situation as DV was just a lap ago. So now I have to push to get back within that 1 second window to make sure I have overtake for the next lap, because if I don't, I'm gonna lose out on a lot of battery regeneration, battery power, and it's going to be game over. The gap is 1.1 seconds coming out of turn 7 as the 2 cars behind are still fighting really hard. I'm gonna have to send it through these next 2 corners in order to make it inside that 1 second window, and somehow we retain the overtake button even though I was not within the 1 second window. Huh? And you can see how hard P2 is pushing, how close he is to the gearbox of P1. He wants to keep me outside of that 1 second window, but somehow we managed to stay again within that 1 second window. We managed to hold on and survive to fight another day. A couple of laps later, the sky has gotten really dark. The rain is not that far out anymore. And in case you didn't know, with these new regulations, the moment the rain is gonna hit the track and it gets wet enough, we're gonna lose access to boost and overtake. This means if we wanna go for the move, go for track position, it has to be now. And not even half a lap later, rain has arrived.
So if I want to go for the overtake on track, it has to be now, right?
This is excellent news because it means all tire management is going to be out the window now, and we can go absolutely ham in the next few laps to try to get ahead of these guys before boost gets deactivated.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it on this lap.
You can see how hard I'm pushing, nearly dropping DV behind outside of the 1 second window. And usually the first overtaking opportunity is out of turn 1. I try to get a good exit, but the track is already getting too greasy and I have trouble getting the power down. But still, we're gonna keep the overtake on and try to make something happen here. I want to force P2 to attack P1, and he lifts very early. I managed to avoid him just barely, but I go a little deep into turn 3 and I hit P1 in the side pod.
No way.
Luckily, he reacted in time and opened up his steering, but this does mean he lost the position to P2, who is now P3. And usually when something like this happens, I try to let him by because it's not a fair overtake. So I'm gonna lift, open up the inside here into turn 6, but unfortunately, it's the wrong guy.
Was this the guy or the other guy?
The other guy.
But at this point, things were getting more and more slippery, and my tire indicator has just come on. But that's okay, because we're boxing in the next few laps anyways. But here's something you didn't know. I was running a very low wing configuration as I go incredibly deep into turn 1, losing the rears under braking, and now the Ferrari has a good run on me into turn 3. I have the outside line though for the better momentum, but I turned in a little bit too early, hit him in the side pod, and this has just compromised my exit up towards turn 4, and now he gets a dose of the slipstream into turn 4, and things are only going to get uglier and uglier from here. He goes down the inside, I leave him the room. You can see how hard it is to get the car turned. I just don't have the grip.
Just have no braking.
And it's going to be move done into turn 6. I have a little look around the outside, but it's no use. And that was a critical mistake for our race, because now we're going to be in P3 and I don't know when the overtake or boost button is going to get deactivated.
He's boxing already?
But luckily, at the end of lap 17, they all jump into the box, and I think there's more than enough grip right now to stay out on the slicks, but it doesn't matter now. The track was getting greasier and greasier, and we have to go in on this next lap. we're gonna have to answer and go into the intermediates ourselves. The question is, where are we going to come out relative to the top two guys? Are we going to come out ahead, behind? Nobody knows, but we have to push flat out on this in-lap to minimize the time loss. My tires were all but cooked at this point, and I have to go into the pits, staying within the white lines, taking it very, very safe on the pit entry because I don't want to risk invalidating or getting a penalty from somebody behind. But this is where I get hit going into the pits, and I was actually over the speed limit, 82 kilometers per hour as I headed into the pits, but somehow no time penalty.
Huh? What?
And the funniest thing about this whole exchange is that he retired promptly after rear-ending me into the pits. And he even had the audacity to report me after the race. Luckily, the stewards thought the same as me and ruled that no further action will be necessary.
No, but I was trying to slow down. He just drove into my back.
Yeah, but you didn't get a penalty.
I didn't get a penalty. What?
We love the F1 game.
But now we have bigger problems at hand. Because by staying out one lap longer, we've been undercut by 3 guys.
Shit, we got undercut.
But here's the thing though, with the current track conditions, it's not wet enough for full intermediate conditions, which means that 1 extra lap might have cost them an insane amount of tire wear, because when the track is not completely wet, the intermediates have a tendency to burn up and to rack up a lot of tire wear very quickly. Like going in 1 lap later, that is about 5% less tire wear we have compared to all these other guys. 5% might not mean a lot right now, but it only gets worse the more laps go by. But unfortunately, it's not often this easy. And on lap 20,
no more boost.
overtake has been deactivated, and overtaking is going to become a lot harder now.
Yeah, overtaking is gonna be hard now.
Little did I know, overtaking other cars was going to be the least of my worries, because as the track got wetter and wetter, this is where the lack of downforce in my setup is starting to show. I have zero confidence on the braking.
Oh my god, that's such a good exit.
None on turn in and none on exit. In other words, we are dropping like a stone, and it's forced me to go defensive into turn 3, cover up the inside. But somehow, on the exit, we managed to just barely stay ahead of Tom. And this is where one of the biggest flaws with the current regulations is going to be exposed. When everybody's restricted to medium ERS, as Tom has a little look down the inside, I leave him the room side by side on corner exit, but somehow we get better exit. But still, that proximity arrow is still red. But into turn 6, we've managed to stay just ahead. It seems to me that Tom has opted for a high downforce setup, and what that allows him to do is to have so much more confidence in the wet, but in a straight line, like I said previously, with the medium ERS, once you get close to 300 kilometers per hour, your engine simply tops out, and there's not much you can do. Even though there's slipstream, it doesn't make much of a difference. I'm gonna have to keep Tom behind while looking after these tires.
What's the target tire wear per lap? If I want to make it?
Because there's still 14 laps to go.
I think the ideal tire wear is what you have now, actually. Holy shit, I missed Apex.
And this is a big problem because look at how much wear we've already accrued on these intermediates. The track's just simply not wet enough right now, and the intermediates are burning up. But at the same time, if our wear is already this high, I cannot imagine the tire wear the others are dealing with right now. But for some reason, I just could not, for the life of me, find any confidence in the wet. But since everybody is limited to the medium ERS, you can see how much Tom is gaining in the corners.
Oh my god, man, this is so frustrating. Just can't do nothing.
But on the straight, that high wing setup is not doing him any favors, as he has a little look down the inside. I have to open up the steering to give him some room. That is not an usual overtaking spot, Tom. But
Just gotta force it, Come on.
so far, our lower wings has allowed us to stay alive, but I don't know how long I can keep this up. So far, we have become a brick wall on track. Nobody shall pass.
It's gonna get wetter and wetter now.
Yes.
Should help us.
But at the same time, Tom is also under pressure from the cars behind. We're all within just a few tenths of each other as he goes for a move down the inside into turn 3. I leave him the room, but we get the outside line. Better momentum, better exit, and we manage to just about stay ahead again.
Inside line, but I just can't get any momentum.
We managed to fend him off for now, but I don't know how long I can keep this up.
Yeah, this dry setup is not doing so hot. I'm keeping a whole grid behind me. Minister of Defense.
But as the track got wetter and wetter, I started to gain to the top 3. And this got me thinking, maybe a win is still on with about 8 to 9 laps left, because the gap to P3 and P2 are steadily dropping.
Okay, I'm starting to gain on Geno.
Your last lap was... Wait a second. You're one of the fastest guys out on track currently.
But as I'm gaining on Geno, I can feel the desperation coming from Tom as well. He's getting impatient. He's been sitting behind. He knows he can be faster in clean air.
Tom is really trying.
I've got so much pace. I can't get the exits when it really matters. Car's doing a good job. Look at that, man. Look at that cut. That's perfect. He just gets a good enough exit. I can't get close enough. A bit closer this time. Just need the outside one time.
Dude, even with the slipstream, he just can't do anything.
And I can imagine how frustrating this is to stay behind knowing you have better pace in clean air.
Oh my god, man. I just can't get it here.
And I just cannot afford to make a mistake right now because Tom is hungry and he's waiting for the right opportunity to pounce. Coming around the final 2 corners on lap 28, Tom goes for another brutal send down the inside. And I had to open up the steering a little bit, but let's take another look from Tom's POV. Coming around the final corner, he goes down the inside very late after I initiated the turn in.
Great turn in, bro.
However, this to me is a very, very optimistic move because you're completely relying on the drivers ahead's situational awareness to leave you room. Look at how close he almost brushes the inside wall. Because this is a high-speed corner with a very short braking zone, you have to carry so much more speed in order to inch ahead of the defending car. And even if you do manage to make it stick, with the amount of excessive speed you have to carry mid-corner, both of us were going to wash wide. And luckily this was in the F1 game as well. In any other sim like Le Mans Ultimate or iRacing, this would have ended in tears. And Tom and I already had a similar incident last year in F1 25 around Monaco. Even though the stewards ruled this as a racing incident, I'm still curious to see what you guys think about the incident. Who was really at fault here? Should I have been penalized for this move? Let me know in the comments below.
What is PSG in 2026?
What was that? Somebody fucking sent it. What? They're getting impatient. What the fuck?
But this is far from over because Tom is going to retaliate because we came together on the previous lap.
All right, mate.
Tom is absolutely furious. He's bloodthirsty and he goes for it.
Eye for an eye.
Even though he was nowhere close.
Eye for an eye, bro.
He just kept repeating the same thing.
Eye for an eye.
It was like some kind of mantra, like Darth Tom has been awakened. We need to see more of this bloodthirsty and savage side from Tom 97. But I digress, because on the exit of turn 3, even though we got hit on the apex, I still managed to inch just ahead. But this is far from over. And we both know it. This is the closest he's ever been to gaining this track position in a long, long time. As he goes for another send into turn 4. He runs deep a little bit. We make a little bit of contact, but this is beautiful racing. God, give me more. Look at how we're both fighting the steering wheel, fighting for traction.
His exits are so good.
Again, into turn 6, Tom goes for down the inside and leave just enough space on the inside as to not make contact. But that little slide has cost me, and now he has another look down the inside. And this entire time, we've basically been side by side for nearly 2 sectors now. God, this is so glorious. This is what racing is about.
Oh, it's just so frustrating. I just can't do nothing. It's so frustrating.
No, wait a second. Look behind. Oi, oi, oi.
It seems that whatever Tom was doing, he left the door open for the driver behind, and now they're going side by side through the last 2 corners. And this is a recipe for disaster because now they're going 3 wide into turn 1, and with the contact model, it's only a matter of time before something goes horribly wrong.
How am I getting hit? What's going on? Hello?
People may fight.
You fucking idiot, bro. You fucking idiot, honestly. What is going on?
Oh, yellow.
What is
What's up,
going
Wayne?
on?
Everywhere.
Nah, Tom just got fucking... Oh!
Oi, oi, oi.
Oh my god.
But we have to focus on the task ahead because at this point, another problem arose. We do not have enough fuel to make it to the end of the race. Look at how much fuel we're burning on every straight, out of every corner. And now we have to do some emergency leco because otherwise we will not make it to the end of this race. And when you have to lift and coast while the car behind doesn't, you're going to be losing a lot of pace and there's not much you can do about it. Now we're under attack from Zozo, who has boxed even later than we did, but due to the kerfuffle with Tom and all the other sharks, he has now managed to come out of that with much better tires and a way healthier amount of fuel than we have currently. So unfortunately, I lost that position and that is not a position we're going to be able to recover. And it's only going to get more and more difficult from here because I still have to lift and save on these last few laps. Only 2 laps to go. But this is starting to look more and more dicey. And again, out of turn 1, look at how close the cars behind are. And they're so aggressive. They know they can afford to push a lot harder than I am because they got way more fuel. They don't have to worry about that, essentially. But this is still okay to me because Casper has a 3-second penalty. So even if we let him go, we will still retain that position. And we're still side by side out of turn 3 into turn 4. But we're just lacking the confidence on the brakes, and he has way more downforce than we are, and the track is only getting more and more wet at this point. As it stands, we are going to finish P5 on track with the 3-second from Casper, but the other caddy behind, my teammate, is also looking to get a piece of this. But thanks to all the lifting and coasting from the previous laps, we got way more than enough margin to make it to the checkered flag, and not having to leco means we're going to be able to maintain a healthy enough of a gap so that he doesn't try anything into the last few laps. And as we come around the final corner one last time today, what a race this has been, and one of the more enjoyable races I've had on F1 26 DLC. Unfortunately, I just could not fight for the win today. The fuel, the bottle during qualifying, and a 5-second penalty for the contact into turn 3 on Neo means we're going to drop down to P9 in the end. This race definitely could have gone a little better, and we definitely could have fought for the win, but this race has proved that I can definitely bounce back from a difficult start to the season, and you can be damn sure we're gonna keep fighting until the very end. Make sure you subscribe to Formula Kai if you haven't already, because there's way more racing content coming your way.